Hello, my name is Tanay Tiwari and welcome to Buzz This Week, a show that, just like you, survived a week that started from the high of that win at the Oval and then ended with that cancellation at the Old Trafford. I mean, yeah, Ronaldo did light up the other Old Trafford, but you know what I mean. But don't worry, I've got you news and memes right here on the show this week. Fifth test, whose fault was it anyway? MSD returns to the Blues and PCB's big new signings. Oh my god, your test cricket accent is so cool. Say it again. Cancelled. Cancelled? That is exactly what happened. The moment India's assistant physio tested positive on the eve of the final test match, things started sliding downhill. First, there were contentions whether to postpone the test match by 2 days, and then eventually it led to the cancellation of the fifth test between England and India. It was poised so well to end, but it had to end this way. Then the back and forth started in the media, with some blaming the BCCI of prioritizing IPL over bilateral cricket. Now, this is a team that has stayed in very tough quarantines in Australia to play a test series. This is a team that stayed put in Sri Lanka despite having COVID cases within their camp to complete that series. So maybe that allegation is not as well founded as some think it is. But there's also back and forth between the ECB and the BCCI. ECB say that they will suffer damages to the tune of £40 million because of the cancellation of this test match. Team India are to tour England again for 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is next year. The BCCI have offered them to play 2 more T20Is, but England want them to play this test match as well in that same bracket. Meanwhile, ECB have also gone to ICC's Dispute Resolution Committee to ensure that they give a decision in their favour and call this final test match not a cancelled test match but a forfeited test match. According to ICC's playing condition for this WTC cycle, if a team fails to field a team for a test match because of COVID within their camp, that test match stands cancelled. Here, Team India failed to field a team, but they did not have any player contracting the virus. But it's also true that the virus takes time to develop symptoms, and also sometimes the test takes time to ensure that you have COVID in your body, and that was the risk that Team India were not willing to take by playing this test match. Which is why the ball is now in ICC's court. If they decide that this was a cancelled test match, the series stands at 2-1. If they decide that it was indeed a forfeited test match, the series ends in 2-2. What are your thoughts on this? Tell us using hashtag BuzzThisWeek on Twitter. There's so much to talk about. Let's get some conversation started. But the good news is that most of these players have returned a negative test and their franchises have flown them out of the UK into the UAE, and they are currently serving a 6-day quarantine before the start of IPL 2021. The BCCI announced the squad for Team India for the T20 World Cup 2021, and there were some notable inclusions and omissions. No Shikhar Dhawan, no Yuzi Chahal, no Kuldeep Yadav, no Washington Sundar, and there was Ravi Chandran Ashwin, the man who's not played white ball cricket for India since 2017, and despite such massive inclusions and exclusions, all the attention was stolen. जैसे शादी में अच्छा चाट कॉर्नर steals the attention from the main course, exactly कुछ वैसा ही हुआ. One name stole the attention. That name was not in that squad, but will be with that squad in the UAE. MS Dhoni will travel to the UAE for the T20 World Cup as Team India's mentor. And the moment that name propped up, Twitter rushed to the chart corner. MS Dhoni just did a tell me you're an OG without telling me you're an OG. There were other squad announcements too. West Indies announced a power-packed squad to defend their title, while South Africa announced one without Faf du Plessis and Imran Tahir. While England announced theirs without the mention of Ben Stokes, but they've called this a preliminary squad, which all of them are, because you have a deadline until 10th October, until when teams can make changes to their squads, after which no changes will be allowed to any of the squads. South Africa, that is a hint. It's a subtle hint. Just saying. Afghanistan cricket, though, gave no hints to Rashid Khan about the squad that they released for the T20 World Cup, and moments later, Rashid said that because he wasn't consulted with for this squad, he will step down as captain of that squad. Mohammad Nabi is now reported to be leading that squad for the T20 World Cup. But Afghanistan cricket's problems don't seem to be ending. Australia have cancelled the test that the two sides were going to play against each other in Hobart later this year because Taliban had said that while they will throw their weight behind men's cricket in the country, they will disallow women's cricket to flourish as they will for any women's sport in the country. Something that hasn't gone down well with Cricket Australia, and they've now cancelled that test match. It is just so sad to see Afghanistan cricket in such troubled waters. All that we can hope for is for normalcy to resume in Afghanistan and in Afghanistan cricket as well, and for them to come out and get off the mark again with the six. Talk of people getting up and running, how about Ramiz Raja, PCB's new boss? His first mandate as soon as he entered the office was to appoint new coaches for Pakistan cricket. And new coaches have been appointed. Matthew Hayden and former South African pacer Vernon Philander as batting and bowling consultants heading into that T20 World Cup. Remember, the moment Pakistan announced the squad for T20 World Cup, hours later their coaches Waqar Younis and Misbah-ul Haq resigned. Interim coaches Abdul Razak and Saqlain Mushtaq will take charge for the New Zealand series, but come the T20 World Cup, these two giants, Hayden and Philander, will travel with the team. Hayden's vision, Philander's experience, Pakistan cricket may be in for a turnaround after all. Before we wrap up, just a quick IPL roundup. Evan Lewis, who was seen earlier in Mumbai Indians' colours, this time will be seen in Rajasthan Royals' pinks, and he has already warned the oppositions with his whirlwind knock that took St. Kitts and Nevis into the semi-finals of the CPL. Talk of other entrants in the IPL, there are changes in other squads as well. Aiden Markram, Sherfin Rutherford and Ben Dwarshuis have been roped in by PBKS, SRH and the Delhi Capitals respectively after the English trio of David Malan, Johnny Bairstow and Chris Wokes pulled out of the IPL. Your Buzz challenge this week is T20 World Cup centric. Now that you have India's squad ready, what would an ideal bowling lineup look like? I'll go first. I'll go Bumrah, Shami, Rahul Chahar, R. Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja, and my sixth bowler will be Hardik Pandya. I'll go spin heavy in the UAE. What about you? Tell us using hashtag Buzz this week. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. हम सब जगह हैं. अब भेज दो बस. That's all that we have for you on this episode of Buzz this week. Until next week, remember, चाहे ओवल की जीत हो या ओल्ड ट्रैफर्ड का कैंसलेशन हो, हम हमेशा आपके साथ हैं. अगले हफ्ते फिर आ जाएंगे क्रिकेट न्यूज़ और मीम्स लेकर.